This is a Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group video presentation. Hey folks, welcome to this Bigfoot Bits, being done from my office instead of my Jeep as usual. Alright, well lately I've been seeing posts and occasionally you see the people who seem to be very, very irritated at the institution of science. They complain about how science won't take this seriously. And I get all this because I've been there, right? I've been in that exact situation. And to some extent, there's still some things that make me scratch my head about it. But it's not as bleak as some people think. Sure, we don't have the whole of science looking at this with any seriousness. But when you make the blanket statement that science won't acknowledge or take a look at this, you're really kind of dismissing the actual scientists we have had and still have that are taking a look at this. I mean, think about the people. Grover Krantz. Okay, Dr. Grover Krantz. He's gone, but hey, that man put in a lot of work on it and a lot of study into it. Dr. John Bindernagel, another one. Gone, but wrote some of the best books on it, in my opinion anyway. And, we still have Dr. Meldrum. We've got Dr. Esteban Sarmiento, a primatologist. So, we do have scientists that are looking into this, okay? Hell, we even have had Dr. Jane Goodall ring in and chime in about Bigfoot and saying that she thinks it's totally possible that a primate hominin like this could exist, and that she thought that, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, she thought that it did deserve further scrutiny or study or, whatever. So it's not like we don't have any, And, it's a lot easier for a scientist who has tenure, okay, to be outspoken. Some of the scientists who've been working in it for years and they have tenure, like Dr. Jeff Meldrum, like Dr. Krantz had, like Dr. John Bindernagel had, I believe. It's a lot easier for them to be outspoken about such a subject as this, right? But you can, and there's no way I can verify this, but you can be sure that there's other scientists that, while right now maybe they can't be so vocal about it personally themselves, they're interested and they're probably listening and talking to some of the other scientists that are outspoken about it. So it's not that bad. I mean, we do have scientists that are in the game, man, and you can't discount them. So making the blanket statement that science is, whatever this, I don't know how some people will put it, like this corrupt system now, which won't look into new things and they just want to stay with the status quo. It's not that at all. Yeah, sure. There are some older scientists that are steadfast, and primatologists are like, nah. But it comes down to evidence. And while some of us think that we do have enough evidence to at least give it further consideration, you have to go with what they want to consider it as a whole. I'm doing a video here, okay? So I'll get with you in a minute, Gary. So, anyway, where was I? Yeah, so we do have that. We do. So it's not like science won't take a look at it at all. We have some scientists. And we have good ones, too, in my opinion. They're looking into it. Some I can't even, some I probably don't even know about, obviously. Like I said, those ones that I can't verify, but I'll bet you they're in there. Because the evidence as of such is enough to warrant further investigation. And not only that, so not only do we have the scientists, we do have some, and more are going to come on board. I guarantee you. The more solid evidence that comes out and is presented by people, the more they're going to have to, the rest of science is going to have to turn to their colleagues that have been looking into this going, hey, there's something out there. They'll have to come on board. And it doesn't really matter that much, I mean, at least not to me, about science, the whole of the science industry, the whole of the science foundation of science or whatever, get on board with this. Institution of science? I don't know. Because we also, we have a lot of non-scientists. So, we have scientists and we have non-scientists alike that are looking into this. And those that are the non-scientists are filling in the gaps for some of the other scientists that we can't get on board yet. We have some very intelligent people out there that are working on this. Not me, obviously. No, I'm working on it, but I'm not in the league with some of these people. For me, this is like, it's my own quest, really, which is kind of selfish. But I want all the answers that everybody else wants, and I want to be able to prove them scientifically, because I know that if this species exists, like I contend and many other people contend, then it can be proven scientifically. It can be. And I think it will be eventually. Will it be within my lifetime? I don't know. I think it may be. So, the picture's not as bleak as some people think. We have a lot of good people working on it that aren't scientists, but they're analytical. They're objective thinking. They have skills outside of this field, right? Like they have, audio skills for analyzing audio. They have video skills for analyzing videos. They have, anthropological skills for analyzing tracks, I'm no expert in tracks. I've said that forever, and I will say, but I'm getting better at it, And I think it would be hard to hoax a track on me. I think I could pick out a hoax track pretty easily, although I'm not an expert. But we have those kind of people, we have people that know DNA, and they're going to be looking into some of these samples that may be from Bigfoot species, the Bigfoot or an unknown primate, whatever. So it's not a bleak thing, man. We got this covered, man. So it's going the way I think it should be going. You can't get mad at science. Don't get irritated. It does. Like I said, I understand the people who are like, oh, science. Because I've said that too. I'm like, science, I don't get it. I don't get irritated at it anymore, but it puzzles me, that especially in light of the discoveries that they keep making of other human species that have existed. They came up, the most recent one, if I'm keeping up correctly on my paleoanthropology and that, is Homo naledi, or naledi. There's another species of human that used to exist. So they know by the fossil record and by discoveries that they've made that there were not just Homo sapiens, right? Or, there were more. Well, they've known there weren't just Homo sapiens for a while now, but like they've known about Homo erectus and Homo neanderthalensis and all that. But it's turning out there's a lot more species, it seems, that were in the Homo genus than originally known, right? So it does confuse me and puzzle me that having that knowledge, that some scientists, not all, some scientists are so adamant that we are the only human species that have survived. So, given that there were so many, I don't understand why more scientists don't consider at least the possibility that, you know what, we're not the only species of human to have survived to the present. We almost went extinct. I've mentioned this several times before. We almost went extinct as a species about, I think it's right around 60, 65,000 years. We'll just say between 70 and 60,000 years ago. We narrowly avoided extinction. There weren't that many Homo sapiens left, but we did. We managed to avoid that extinction, and so and our brains did help. We were able to produce technology that allowed us to adapt better to certain environments and etc. So that helped. But what's to say that we're the only human species that was able to adapt? So it does confuse me. That part does, because for me and many others, it's quite obvious that there is a species out there that avoided extinction just like we did. And although we say we don't want to prove it, or at least I say that all the time. So I think deep down inside, I say I don't want to prove it, but don't I really? In a way, and maybe not even just prove it, but show it, right? I would love to be able to show it. That's why I, have been sharing stuff with people that want to follow my pages and my channel. Because I do want to show it. I guess I must, or else I would keep everything to myself. If I came up with evidence, it'd be like, all right, well, it's more evidence that backs up what I saw 3 years ago in the woods. And I wouldn't put it online. I wouldn't tell anybody. I'd just keep it to myself and just keep it all to myself and just go, well, you know what? I don't care if everybody else knows these things really exist. I do. And I wouldn't have to talk about it. I could just go along. But, yeah, no. That's it. And that'd be okay, but it's not enough, right? You want to share it with other people. So, yeah, it's not bleak, folks. Don't worry so much about science. Science will come along. All we have to do is just keep adding up the evidence. And eventually, there's just going to be so much overwhelming evidence that there'll be more of mainstream science that comes on board. And, with the, what's the word? I might make up a word here. What with the elusivity? That's not a word. Elusiveness, that's the word, of this species. Who knows that even if we had all of science, all of the institution of science, full bore into this, that we would be that much quicker finding these things and proving to the world, as they say, that, hey, we are sharing the world still with another hominin species from way back when or whenever. Personally, I don't know when they evolved. I suspect that it was a long time ago. Based on what I saw, I think they may share a common ancestor. The same common ancestor that we all share as primates. Um, but yeah, they'll come on board, because it's out there. So, don't worry so much about science, guys. Don't let it irritate you. Look on the bright side. We do have scientists that are involved, knowledgeable scientists. And we do have what has now become the catchphrase citizen scientists, who are some very intelligent people trying to apply the scientific method to everything that they do to bring all this forward into the light. So there you go, man. It's not a bleak thing, man. If we could get the hoaxers to stop, that would help. But that's not going to happen. You know. So just stay objective about it, man. And I'm telling you, look towards the scientific method and the people that are doing honest investigations, and coming up with actual evidence and not just grand narratives. And in science, they're slowly coming on board. There's probably scientists, again, like I said, that we don't even know about that are interested. They're just not very outspoken about it right now. So there you go. Hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you for the next Bigfoot Bits. Don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff.